Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Gorgeous Growth Podcast, where we discuss strategies to take your brand to the top. I'm your host, Oscar Guerrero, and today I'm joined by Abdul Ahmed. This is an interview that I'm very excited about. Abdul is the co-founder and CEO of Intense Oud. Intense Oud's offices are headed out in Dubai, and Abdul is based out of Chicago and originally from Pakistan. This is an amazing opportunity to actually have a conversation with Abdul because Intense Oud has undergone tremendous growth over the past 5 years. So Abdul, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Oscar, for introducing me and my company. Definitely, I am excited to be in this podcast and looking forward for it.
Great. So I understand Intense Oud right now distributes or sells about 85 brands. The scents are actually based on oud notes. So why don't you share with us a little bit about what that's all about for those people who don't know?
Definitely. Intense Oud, basically, we are into the fifth year of the business currently right now. And we started as with a very few selected brands back then, but now we carry almost 85 different brands. 85 different brands, and we have almost 3,000 plus SKUs combined all these 85 different brands. So, and the again, as the name stands out, oud is a specific kind of fragrance, which comes from a specific tree. So, we all our majority of the fragrance what we have, we have EDP fragrance, we have incense burners, we have oils. You will find that there is element of oud which is basically inside those fragrances, and that's where we basically shine in.
That's beautiful. That's wonderful. So, a lot of times when I talk to brands that are successful, what I find is that they're very niche. You may be in the fragrance industry, but you also have something that's very unique, very specific, right? And again, I think that probably what's part of your success is the actual product as well, right? The brands.
Right. Right. So
So
again, yeah, as you mentioned, right? So, you cannot have yourself in abroad, so that you'll be technically, what they call, jack of all, master of none. So,
mm,
so you want to be very specific in what you want to stand on that way. So, when we started back then, definitely, I think the whole idea about was that let's bring this a whole different world of fragrances which does not exist in the United States. Yes, it's a little bit of kind of common back there in Middle East and stuff like that, that place over there, but people were not aware of it. So we took a lot of I would say a lot of a burden on our shoulder by educating the audience here what exactly is oud, how you can leverage that, how you can stand out from the crowd, and how technically it redefines your personality when you use kind of a very specific kind of a fragrance. And if it's a head turner fragrance, so it just you are a little bit being in the, I would say, in the spotlight.
yeah, absolutely. Now, let me ask you something. Do you guys have your own brand as well, or you're just selling other people's brands?
Well, we have Intense Oud is it's a parent company. Inside that, we have a lot of different brands, and of course, we have our own brand also, Intense Elite. So we have our own collection of it's a whole lifestyle brand, which definitely it's just a relatively new brand for us, but that's something which we are super excited about it.
Okay, great. So, do you feel like it's important to have your own brand as part of this?
I think it's a no-brainer when it comes to diversification, when it comes to basically having the more deeper market share out there. It's extremely important, to have your brand. You have your brand. You have to have different lot of different brands at the same time. But I'm a firm believer. Okay, you need to have your own brand, not just because you need to have for diversification. Because the whole idea behind launching our own brand was that we did see that there is still some kind of a gap with respect to the blend of Middle East as well as with the East and West, and that's what we are introducing in our brand exclusively.
Right. Okay. And now let's talk a little bit about supply chain. So over what I realize is especially over the past year and a half, I would say, with the
Mm-hmm,
cost per acquisition, at least on the direct to consumer side of the business,
mm-hmm,
cost per acquisition has gone up, and a lot of people have been actually starting to pay more attention to their margins and profitability. And other than just like price elasticity and being able to raise your price, which some brands can and can't do, they have to find other areas where they can make more money. And what a lot of growth experts talk about is the supply chain, how important it is if you can own the supply chain or control a part of the supply chain and the fulfillment, that this can help make a successful brand. Have you guys given this any thought or put any efforts in into this?
definitely. I think I would just like to second your statement, the fact what you mentioned that the acquisition has increased a lot. I would say, especially, after the COVID, we have seen that, especially on the D2C side, the element of acquisition, where the biggest channels right now, I would say, either it's Google Ads or Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok. So it is kind of getting a little bit saturated also. And because of that saturation, the acquisition has kind of, went really high. But yes, during the time of the COVID, that was really, it went down. So we were really able to take advantage of the time, and I think many other people out there took advantage of it. But right now it's gone really high. And of course, as you mentioned, when the cost of acquisition goes high, the profit of margin basically goes slim out there. So yes, one of the very important factor is to do with the supply chain out there. Uh, as we work with different vendors, we don't have 100% control over the supply chain out there. But what we have started doing is that we have started basically having a more, I would say, stronger forecast, as well as having a more deeper relationship with the manufacturers. So whatever external factors or issues they are experiencing, whether it could be import from China or some issues over there, so that can be basically planned ahead of time. So yes, supply chain, we work a lot with one-to-one with our vendors, manufacturers, and since we are also a sub manufacturer, so we do understand the supply chain, the importance of the supply chain. And by not having the products uh, in-house at the right time, at the right place, we definitely lose a lot. So yes, that's
Mm.
a very big factor what we have. And of course, the supply chain element, by it's from Dubai to here, so it's a big distance. Just the logistic element is the whole different world by its own self. But the manufacturing from there in Dubai itself, whereby the raw materials are being procured from China, from India, from Indonesia, from Malaysia. So that's a whole different element what needs to be also figured out.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. And now on the fulfillment side, once you have things in the States, do you guys are you working with a 3PL fulfillment center? Like, what does that look like?
No, no, no. So I mean, of course, every business has their own approach of handling the business. So we are not using 3PL or anyone. We have everything in house. So the whole fulfillment structure is being controlled in house by our in Chicago itself over here.
Oh, wow. Wow. So you guys have a warehouse where you have
we
everything.
we have a state of the art of a warehouse in Chicago vicinity itself over here. You name it, it's I mean, more than welcome to kind of show you once you come here. So, and the part of the reason is that because we have to understand is that the fulfillment is one of the most important part of the whole process. Whereby it says that not only we are just basically treating our company as a company just basically selling products, just selling trading commodity, but we want to provide that wholesome experience to our end client and customers. So when we do the fulfillment, each and every package is being very nicely wrapped, nicely packed with a handwritten note inside it, with their name and stuff. So when they open the package, it basically puts them into the awe state, like, wow, this is pretty awesome. So and by partnering up with the 3PL, we may not have 100% control over that structure.
Hmm. Yeah, that's great. I think that I 100% agree with that approach. I mean, I believe that people talk about the post-purchase experience,
Mm-hmm.
right? What happens when you actually buy something. but they fail to really look at packaging is part of the post-purchase experience, right? um,
Definitely, definitely. I think if you check up our reviews, we have like almost like 15, I think 150,000 reviews on our websites and products and our Google reviews. Majority of the reviews you will find is that how did they receive their package, like
mm,
completely nicely packed, their name, because we just want to make them more personalized,
yeah,
and they won't be. And I think our goal is to make them feel okay, we really care about them, and we sincerely do that by we spend if on an average, if let's say if a 3PL comes and says that what, we take 30 seconds to fulfill one of your order, over here we spend almost like 2 to 3 minutes to basically just to pack it. Forget about the pick and ship. That's a different
yeah.
complete. So we have estimated that number, and it takes almost 2 to 3 minutes, because we very carefully make sure everything is done in a very precise and the manner what we want to basically put it out to them.
Yeah, that's great. Especially when people are buying online, especially direct to consumer. I know that the average order values, these are not just like small purchases. They're usually a little bit larger than what they would normally spend at like a discount store, right?
Right.
So when they have that experience, it lets them know, okay, I made the right decision. So I mean, those things count.
100%, 100%. I think it's again, as you mentioned, right? So just providing the whole experience out there, because one biggest challenge what you see in the fragrance side is that, look, we have so many SKUs, and it's kind of a blind buy. So they have, most of them have not smelled the fragrances, but they have just convinced with our marketing, with our brand itself, they have some level of trust on us. So because orders comes from all around the United States, all from the order around the world. So to give that kind of a phenomenal experience, we don't want to have that post-purchase remorse.
Yeah, absolutely. No, so you mentioned marketing. Let's talk a little bit about that. On the marketing end, right now, there's plenty of channels, right? Well, you have Meta, which you're looking at both Facebook and Instagram. You have Google, TikTok. Just on the direct to consumer side, where do you see which channel do you see helping you the most?
Well, I mean, I think this is a very broad topic to discuss, and I think we can go hours and hours just to discuss that when we start dissecting it. But I would still say, there are three, when it comes to the D2C side, there are three big major channels at this point of time, to acquire the leads. It's basically Google Ads, Facebook and Instagram, and TikTok. So these are the three whereby I think if any company or any individual who would like to succeed into the D2C side, they should not be neglecting these three. I wouldn't still go with the Snapchat, or definitely with the Pinterest, or other small channels out there, but these three should not be neglected at all, and
I,
that's where we get majority of the leads from.
okay, I would love to hear about your experience with TikTok.
TikTok, I would say TikTok is right now, it's a very I wouldn't say we are very mature, but very infancy stage right now with the TikTok. But I will definitely give you an example. There is a fragrance which is called Harim Sultan. So Harim Sultan is one of the fragrance, which is basically, it went wild, it went crazy on TikTok back in February. And I kid you not, even if you look on our homepage right now, the main banner, it's of that Harim Sultan. The moment we get those items over here, it's out of stock. It's like, so we are selling, I would say, not, we are selling thousands of pieces, on a monthly basis, and yet that TikTok sensation has not went away. It's been
Wow.
it started in mid of Feb, and you can do the math right now. It's right now mid of August right now. It's almost like 6 months right now, but yet the demand has not faded out. So, and I think we have done phenomenal on that one, and we are still working on that one. So it has technically become the world famous oil. It's an oil. It's not even a
Wow.
perfume. It's become a world famous oil. And people who are listening to this one, you might want to just TikTok, like search on TikTok Harim Sultan, and you will be amazed to see how many views they have and stuff like that. And we rank on the top in the world for that fragrance.
Oh, okay.
And the
So
traffic is coming from TikTok.
Now, did that happen organically or was that paid?
It was organically. It was
Wow.
completely organically. Even the company, even the partnered company, wasn't aware of this kind of stuff over there. But what the importance, what you mentioned about the TikTok right now, what I'm trying to exhibit over here is that the fire what you can catch on a specific product on TikTok, it's not possible on Facebook or Google Ads.
Yeah, yeah, no. The virality that you get from those videos it can be game changing for a business.
And the fact that if your product has that level of quality, it can catch fire. But well,
Yeah.
if your product has does not that level of quality, it will fade out pretty soon.
Interesting. Interesting. So let's talk a little bit about like so what we've seen this year, especially beauty industry, fragrances, a lot of focus on diversification of channels. Everyone's saying go multi-channel, multi-channel. Um, Unfortunately, I've seen brands that were just dependent on one channel, and they actually went out of business, right? So how have you guys? I mean, behind you, you have a poster that says Amazon ads, Google ads. So there's I could see that there's definitely it looks like you guys definitely have different channels. Is that correct?
No, definitely. I think, back then when we started, back in like 5 years before, so we were just focused on, one channel itself. And I think at that time it was okay to say that, you can rely on one channel. But as you mentioned right now, the whole, if you want to provide the complete experience to the customer, you got to be there in all the different channels. Number one, just because you need to diversify yourself, and the number two is that because you need to have all different kind of touch points, because in today's day and age, every individual, right, basically, they have exposed to, they basically serve on all different channels.
Yeah,
So you and different customer journey, you want to make sure, okay, you are basically kind of, the awareness can be running on some different channels, stuff like that. You never know on from which channel they might convert.
that's right. That's right. Wow. So it sounds like it's just so you never know what channel they're going to convert on. So it's important just to be everywhere.
It's look, we use a software which is called Triple Whale.
Oh yeah.
um so it's a very comprehensive software whereby you can integrate different kind of channels and whatnot, and it kind of shows you the complete ecosystem of where the customer is coming from, either it's come from email channel or web channel, so you can where exactly it's happening. So of course, a lot of legwork needs to be done on the data side and stuff like that. But it's relatively very important also when you are doing, because one thing is very tricky in marketing is that if you do not know where your highest conversion is happening, you can keep on basically throwing money into the dark hole.
Hmm.
uh, and especially the fact that if you are basically focusing on the whole ecosystem, that becomes even more challenging, because now you need to have thousands of dollars budgeted for the every marketing ecosystem on the D2C, B2C, on B2B side. So it's extremely important that you need to have a very, 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 very strong hold on the data side of the game. If you will not have, I kid you not, the company will be in loss, in not in matter of, years, in matter of weeks, they'll be in loss.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I think that there's a lot of people, depending on the different stage the company is in, what I typically see is especially earlier stage companies and those companies that are either trying to make it to their first million or even just above that, there's a huge focus on product. And while that's important, we all know we need a great product. What a lot of them aren't focusing on is the business financials and the data, right?
Right? True.
And and that, like you said, that is paramount to the success. It's almost like being able to navigate right through everything.
100%. I think as you see in the back over there, if you see on the top over there, it's like R&D is there, marketing is there, accounts is there. I think the key, sales of a company is where the bloodline of the company is.
Hmm.
So sales and marketing. So you gotta be very, very, you gotta know, if you want to grow the company, you need to have a very good hold onto that one over there. Fulfillment, of course, what you promise in marketing, you need to fulfill that, so there is no question being asked over there. And about the
Correct.
product, of course, we are not, everybody has the same thought process. Okay, the product needs to be good. So it's like, I mean, it's a no-brainer. So you will not be able to survive the business if your product is not at the standard out there.
Yeah, yeah. And then on the financial side, I had a conversation recently with a brand owner, and I asked him what was the marketing efficiency ratio, or ROAS, that they were trying to reach, and then we discussed their margins,
Mm.
and I told him, I said, at the ROAS that you're trying to reach with the margin that you have, you won't be profitable. So it's important to know these numbers, folks. I tell people that it's always good to try to run your brand like you're a venture capitalist. Like this is an investment,
100%.
right?
And it's very funny because you mentioned right now, because I also bump into many companies. They are very good at product. They are very good. Okay, they understand the element of every product, how they want to do stuff like that. But when it comes to numbers, financial numbers, they have no idea. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes if you look at the ROS, I mean, 1, 2 ROS, and they're not even like breaking even out there.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure how they're handling that. But as I mentioned, if you the whole e-commerce element, if you are basically diversifying yourself different channels, you got to have a good hold onto the whole numbering element, or else you would be in a very bad shape.
What about, like, from my understanding, you're based out of Chicago, and you guys actually have a place where someone can go and purchase products, like a brick and mortar.
100%. So we call it the experience center. We have a very nice experience center here, whereby a person can come in, they can smell, because one of the biggest challenge in the fragrance what you have is that you need to smell the fragrance. Yes, we do have samples and whatnot which we ship it out and stuff like that, but still it does not gives you the whole feel and touch of the fragrance. So we have an experience center whereby they can come in, they can feel, or they can experience the different kind of fragrances. Of course, if you're in Midwest, it's anyone is more than welcome to come in. And that's also part of the ecosystem. So you cannot people, or some of the, maybe it might be that discussion might be relevant for some of the industries, but especially if you're going into the fragrance industry, so you need to have these kind of brick and mortar stores. And we do, and more, I think, in the next couple of years, we do plan to expand our horizon onto that part of the structure.
That was my next question then. Where do you see the future of this company going?
Interesting. So I think definitely, three channels what we have, as we discussed about, right? So B2C, B2B, and D2C. On each of the channels, we would be going more deeper horizontally as well as more vertically. When I say vertically, what I mean by is that, okay, we need to open new different channels into that specific zone itself over there. So right now, into the B2C, into the D2C side, what we have seen is that we have got a very good traction from Australia, from UK. So we want to basically expand that zone over there. So of course, the marketing element will be very focused on that part over there. Same thing which happens onto the B2C side, whatever marketplaces, what we're working with, Walmart, Amazon, eBay, Google Shopping and whatnot. So we can go more different marketplaces with more brands of collection what we have, and then stuff like that. And the same thing goes with the B2B side also.
So it's continued growth is what
It's
it
a
sounds
continued
like.
growth. I think it's the way things are with the, again, we are a technology focused company a lot more, because my background personally is on a tech. So I'm a tech guy, and that's where the company kind of is driven towards that direction over here. So if you are basically implementing the tech aspect of in the company over there, then you need to make sure that it has a lot of potential which you can take advantage above and beyond the geographical location what you are.
Yeah.
You're not limited to only Chicago, you're not limited to stuff like that.
Oh, of course.
What you mentioned about TikTok, Facebook, I mean, well, the whole world is yours.
Yeah.
Now it totally depends upon your marketing strategy, your approach. How do you want to go excel and capture different things from there?
Yeah. Okay. And if people wanted to find out more about what's happening with Intense Oud, where do you think the best place to follow and find out is?
Definitely, Facebook, our website is there, but Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn page. So every we have a lot of things going on, and we have a lot of new products coming in. A lot of new innovations are happening. So definitely, people might just basically follow us, like us over there, and they will basically get get themselves knowledge about who we are, what we are doing, and they can experience the whole Arabian fragrance world which we have here.
Yeah, it sounds awesome. It sounds great. Listen, thank you so much. This was really a pleasure. I know that everyone who's going to hear this is going to grab a ton of information. I can't thank you enough, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you, Oscar. I think this was it was nice. It's always a pleasure to talk. Have this kind of a session. With same passionate people. So I love that, and definitely looking forward to grow more.
Have a great
Thank
one.
you.
Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Bye.